Then you go into the stage of your courtship, marriage, having a family life, and becoming a first lady. I would definitely want to delve into that one.
Yeah,
How did that all blend in for you? How did that, not come about? How did that blend in for you?
It was a very difficult, not difficult. Let me not use. I don't want to use difficult. It was a very interesting, interesting
okay
transition to become 3 different roles within a 6-month span. And that's really what it was. I was actually in the role of a first lady first, and then a wife, and then a mother.
So wait, so you said first lady first. What does
the church started before we were married.
Oh,
the church started in January of 2007. I didn't get married until June of 2007. And then I got pregnant right after that.
Okay, got you.
So it happened really back to back. My great aunt, I was working in my mom's ministry at the time, obviously, and praise and worship and different things like that. And then I got engaged, and then, my great aunt was like, if they get a building, release her, to the ministry.
Right.
And by the time I looked up, we had a building, and we, so everything happened, very, very quickly. Not a lot of time to really plan, all of that. So it was, but again, when God has something and a role for you to participate in, he already has equipped you with what you need. You know what I mean? And so I have been every role in church. So besides this particular role. And so for me, I was an adjutant. I was a aspiring minister. I became a minister after I was pregnant with my son.
Ordained.
Correct. So it did. I was an aspiring minister in my mom's ministry, and then, the engagement, all that stuff kind of happened like in that year. And so within that 2 years, I had become a minister, a mother, a wife, a first, it was a lot going on at that time. But the church was very vibrant, and, beginning to thrive, and things like that. And so, but then things happen, things transition, and then, God snatch you out of something, and you got to be like,
right, absolutely.
What
right.
happened? And so within 5 years of that, that's kind of what I was sitting in, trying to figure out what happened to the life that had been my life was centered around
my
marriage, my church, my son, and then within a matter of a short period of time, my life looked very different.
Right, of course it will be different. And I wanted to ask you, how did you manage, in that different life, because all of this that you had going on with you pursuing your career in music, and then you have your life within the church and family life. So how did you manage it, and were you under pressure to
well, here's the thing. Well, the truth is, at the time that that started, I had stopped singing for a while. Within that time frame, the music industry had shifted.
Okay,
and
got
so you. Neo Soul was kind of taking a more back seat in the industry. So we weren't touring as much at that point. So I wasn't really actively singing by the time 2006, 5. It was about 2005 that we kind of wasn't touring as much at that point.
Okay.
And I was home a lot more.
So you have more flexibility.
I was home. I was home a lot more at that point. Correct. And that was how the reconnection started, and the
got you.
The season
and
of
that's
dating.
God's timing, regardless of how it ended up, regardless of the outcome.
Correct. It all flowed. It all flowed
the
way it was supposed to go at that point. And so that's how it kind of happened. I wasn't really on the road as much at that point. So that happened, and whatever the case may be. And so so then we end up with all of that I just said, and then 5 years later, it's a different scenario. And from there begin, my new journey, and just a very difficult season for me. That was a very difficult season. I lost a lot.
Yes.
I lost a lot in that season. I went through a lot of hellish situations in that season. I really begin to know God for myself in
Yes.
that season.
Oh, absolutely. And that
So
was the time you really, I could imagine
yeah,
the amount of bonding time that you had with God at that moment. So I get it.
he
I
was
could
he
imagine.
was all I had. He
Yes,
was all
yes.
I had. He was all I had because I was in a season of silence. I was in a
Yes.
season of not really saying a lot of things to a lot of people because I couldn't. I was in a season where I was kind of in a position where, first of all, I was trying to figure out what happened to my life. Okay. I can't tell a bunch of people something I don't even have an understanding about. You know what I
Yes.
mean? So
Yes.
I went through a very tricky season of trying to, but it was in that season that God began to keen his voice in my ear. He took away all the voices that I knew to be familiar and what I thought was a certain thing. And I winded up turning into being able to hear God clear from myself. That's why I flow in the prophetic now, to be very honest with you. People don't know that about me, but I am very prophetic. I hear God very clear. And it was in that season that God began to shift that ear from me. And it was in that hard season that God began to make sure that I heard him above anything else. And that way, for the rest of my life, whenever he spoke to me, I would be clear, it would be him. And
Wow.
so it was that season that shifted my entire life's trajectory because of what I was going through and different things. It wasn't just due to the divorce and the separation that I went through. It was I lost my job, I lost my home. I had to go back and live with my mama for a while. Like, it was a lot happening to me back to back that put me in that season of hell. I was in a Job season.
Yes.
I was
Yes.
in a Job season
Yes.
for a while, and I had no end date. I had no expiration date. I had no, God gonna do it in 10 days and turn around, and then he gonna do it, and by the time you get home, it wasn't that. It was you gonna sit in this for a while. It was the
Absolutely.
season where it was I get comfortable.
Yes.
Because I'm not taking you out of this season until I'm ready for you to be out of it, because there are lessons that I have to teach you for where I'm taking you in the future, and so
Yes.
I
Yes.
had to sit in that season for a while. I lost a lot. I lost everything, to be honest with you. I lost everything, and my relationship with God, I think back on those times, and I mean, I sold in tears. I just couldn't believe it. And I'm telling you, one part of that season was this. I went to look for a job, and the Holy Ghost told me, don't look for a job right now. He said to me, don't look for a job. I said, wait a minute. Excuse me, sir? Huh? He said, I want to teach you how I can be your daily bread. And I'm like, this is crazy. This is nuts. There's no way this is, but I listened. And what was on the other side of that obedience, I flow in obedience. If God said it, I'm doing it.
Yes, absolutely.
Period.
Better.
I might have to ask him and be like, now you want to say that to me again?
Yeah, right. You need confirmation.
But
Yeah.
I flow in the spirit of obedience to God.
Yes.
And when he says a thing to me, because he's proven himself over and over time and time.
Gosh.
And if he say
Woo.
it,
yes.
First of all, if you tell me to say it to you, I'm gonna say it to you too. And you might not even receive it, and that's fine. But I'm gonna say it to you.
Yes.
I'm gonna say it to you.
You better,
and whether you receive it,
relay
that's
that
on
message.
you.
Yes, absolutely.
Because I can't get beat up for disobedience. I'm not going to take what God will give me if I don't do what he tells me to do.
Got you.
And that's just, and again, that season facilitated that strength in which I obey, that strength in which I hear God clear, that strength in which I see what others don't see. I flow in what others don't flow in. And I know I don't look like it. You know what I mean? I look like, the 80s right now. Yeah. But in my mind, my heart, and my soul, I can go into a flow with God at any point in time. I'm always on the cusp of a speaking in tongues. I always, at all times.
Right.
I'm always, because I live.
Because you stay ready.
Lived it. I stay ready.
Yeah.
I stay ready. For real. Yeah. Like, that's real. And most people don't live their life like that. But for me, I absolutely do.
And I'm glad you put into that perspective, because I want to segue into this, because I want to play this video on Tamara, because I want to kind of get more into where you in the space that you were at that time and kind of
Ooh,
transition to
girl.
updating it where you are now. Okay, so and let me know when you want me to pause at any time. So yeah, I want
Okay,
to get
okay.
into this. Yeah, I want to get into this, and like I said, I want to get into more where you were at that time and kind of,
Wow.
and kind of give more. 'Cause I want to give more in depth into that space that you was in. All right, is that all
Wow.
right with you?
I'm fine with that. I'm fine.
All right.
I got some background on that though that you may not be aware of, but I got you. I got you.
Okay,
Go on
yeah,
and play.
please. Yes, please enlighten me. Yes, please. All right.
Feel that disconnection from certain family members, even friends maybe, that have seen up close or even know the things that I've been through, would be worth disconnecting from them because of that communication or connection still with my.
Well, I mean, look, you ever thought maybe they not your friends?
It's very possible.
Maybe they was your friends because of what you were. If you the pastor's wife, if you the first lady, maybe that's why they was your friend. But now you ain't the first lady no more. Now they ain't your friend no more.
Very true.
Sometimes, we have to come to conclusions ourselves. See, we can't really affect or change what other people do. We have total control of ourselves. I just think, you have to have just pull the curtain back on the whole show and just go, look, who's my friends and who not.
Absolutely.
All right, I want to kind of stop it there because
Yeah.
I just think that's so profound when it comes to the, because I think the title of that clip was Loyalty After Divorce, and how that affected your friendships and how you interacted with with people. So can you tell me the space that you were in at that particular time where it not forced you, but it was geared towards you questioning your
Yeah.
friendships at that time. And can you tell me where you are and where you are now with that?
Well, think about so here's the background on shows
Okay,
like
okay,
show
okay,
because people don't really know this necessarily.
okay.
So the background on shows like that is they talk to so initially I was just okay, let me see. So I went to a service, right? And a prophet prophesied to me that I was going to have some sort of encounter with Steve Harvey.
Oh,
And
really?
so this is a whole background, girl. You ain't even ready for this. And so I said, okay. I was like, so I prayed about it and I said, all right, God, well, I know I obviously must put myself in a position. Like, how do you want me to flow when it comes to this prophecy? He said a lot to me that day, but that was one of them. And so I said, okay, well, let's start with the Steve Harvey show. So I was like, well, I'm going to LA for my birthday, so maybe I can go to the show. I
Okay.
went online, no tickets for May were even online. Like it was almost like the season had stopped.
Okay.
And so I was like, okay, I kept checking. I said, all right, well, God, it obviously ain't that way. So how else do you want me to be in position for whatever this prophecy could mean? This could mean 10 years down the road, but I didn't feel like that. I felt like it was something that needed to happen, or I needed to be more active or proactive about that happening. I left it alone, child, because that moment with the prophet was in March. His name is Apostle Jennings from Atlanta. And so anyway, a whole month went by and the Holy Ghost said, look up the tickets again. The tickets had opened up and two shows were on my birthday.
What?
And so I was like, you gotta be kidding me, God, for real. Like, I was like, you gotta be kidding. So I was like, all right, bet. I'm gonna be in LA. It's for my birthday. I'm gonna sign up for the tickets. Now, mind you, in my mind, I'm just going to be in the audience.
Right.
But by the time I looked around, they were emailing to see if he wanted to be on the Ask Steve segment.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? I was just like, why not? Not knowing it was going to be a thing. So I winded up, one of the producers called me and they was like, all right, tell us about your life. Like, what has been going on with your life? Like, what you do? Like, they was asking, like, digging for what could be a very good moment, right? And people just think I just went up there and asked them that, but that's not really how that happens. You know what I mean?
Oh, good. I'm thanking for this insight. I really appreciate this.
The producers called me,
yeah.
And I had given them so many other things to talk about.
Wow,
Okay,
really?
but they were like, Well, let's dig into that a little bit. So let's talk about you being a pastor's wife. So it was them that facilitated that question. They were just like, whatever I was giving them, they like, we did that before. We did that before. We had that before. They were trying to dig and bring out something that would get major views. And the girl who talked to me, the producer, God bless her heart. She's passed since then. And I think it may have been breast cancer. I can't say that for sure, but she's passed since then, which is crazy. So God, rest in heaven. But anyway, she was just like, no, this the one. And they was like, that you don't know if it's going to be used until after the show and everything like that. So we did the segment. And we did that, and I was like, oh, some people are going to be mad at me for even bringing this back up. Because mind you, by the time I went to Steve Harvey, that's 2019. That situation is very far removed from me at that point. You know what I mean? What I was asking about was not where I was at that time.
Got you.
I knew the answer to that question. It was just a good question for people to,
for that show. For the
correct. But I'm going to tell you, so what's crazy is Steve looking at his cards and looking at me. Looking at his cards, looking at me, and he like, I noticed ain't no first lady sitting in this chair right now. He was looking like he couldn't believe the correlation between the question and who he was looking at. So
wow.
Because I'm like, I know he don't think I'm somebody. He probably like they done made up the person, the story, and everything else. And so anyway, they was like, engage him, whatever the case may be. And so I did. We had a really good time, and Steve said a lot of stuff in that one little moment.
Of course.
And the thing is, what was the blessing in it was, which is how I started my women's Shiro empowerment enterprise, was because from that moment, first ladies everywhere. I got a lot of criticism. You know how people do with segments like that. You know what I mean? I got a lot of criticism.
Oh yeah.
But a lot of first ladies or ministers' wives across the world.
I can imagine because that resonated with so many people.
It was so viral. I was just like, oh, it's still viral now. Like, I mean, that video has millions and millions and millions of views. They replay it all the time. And it just really, it really made me pretty popular in that moment, because they weren't sure if they were going to play it on all of the avenues. So it went on Instagram first.
Right.
And then it went on, and then no, I'm lying. I'm not no. It went on YouTube first.
Okay.
Then it went on Facebook. Then it went on Instagram. Then it went live at 2. So every part of the day from that morning on, it kept unfolding on different platforms. It was quite a day.
Yes, I can imagine. But let's go back into that area that I paused.
That segment, right? So the question at hand. So that is actually a very true scenario. That's a very true scenario. There are people that have remained neutral, and at that point in time, and even still, I'm very big on loyalty. Very big on loyalty.
Me too.
When it comes to people that have saw me walk through it. See, I don't expect people to be loyal to me that didn't see what I went through up close. I don't expect that. I don't expect it, but I also have the choice whether I want to deal with you with how close in proximity you are with someone that I don't deal with like that. We'll just say it that way. Or, somebody that I was in formal connection with. And I mean that in general. I'm not even just talking about him. I'm just talking about in general. I'm big on loyalty. And if I feel like if you, sometimes you can't play both sides. Sometimes playing both sides don't work. You understand?
Right.
But I do get that, when you don't know, when I was in my silent season about this whole scenario, there's a lot about my story that people just don't know. And you can't want people to hold somebody else hostage for something that they don't know. You know what I mean? So it is what it is. So so that is a very true scenario. There are many people in my life that are still neutral now, to be honest. But I mean, I can't care. We're too far removed from that to even. But I do get to choose whether I still want to be connected to you or not. You know what I'm saying? If
Right.
you choose
Absolutely.
to,
Absolutely.
because to me sometimes that speaks volumes. So yeah, that's a very true scenario. I am very big on loyalty, which is what I said on the show. And I
Right.
feel like if you watch me go through something, there should just be some sort of change in how you
How you move,
interact with
how you
somebody
interact with,
that did me
right.
wrong. Hello.
Right. Yes.
I'm not saying hate the person. I'm not saying,
Right.
whatever. But if you know that they've done me wrong, then,
Right.
it
It's
should
not
definitely
foreign to you.
be
Hmm.
correct. And so that was a very true scenario. Very true scenario for me at that time and even still. But my reaction to it is different. Is just different, So
Yeah.
that's,
So
so yeah.
okay, so I want to go back into it because like I said, I'm really enjoying this because you get more of a deeper, in-depth perspective on it.
Yeah.
It just makes it so much richer.
It's
Sometimes the
juicy. It's
breakup is the
juicy.
blessing, though. I
It
tell this
is.
to women all
It
the
is.
time, too. The breakup is the blessing. See, a lot of women break up and they're, oh, woe is me, I put 10 years in. Well, they was 10 bad years.
Do you feel that disconnection from certain family members, even friends maybe, that have seen up close or even know the things that I've been through would be
Was it did it stop there?
It
Am I
must have.
playing it?
I think it went back.
Yeah. Okay, went back. Okay. So yeah, so I also wanted to know I mean, even though you mentioned that oh, let me get you back. Okay. You mentioned that
I'm back.
you yeah. I mean, you mentioned that you was far removed from that at that time, but I'm just curious to know um you because you mentioned that there were still some people that still on neutral ground when it comes to this. But I'm curious to know, and whatever you're comfortable with sharing as far as
Sure.
the space that you was in um at that time with your ex-husband and where you are now with it, especially with you co-parenting.
Yeah, I'm not gonna get too deep
Oh,
into that, to be
right.
honest with you. But I mean,
Mm,
we do co-parent. My son has the best of both worlds. I kind of talk more about him. He does have the best of both worlds.
good.
And so, he's been able to benefit. He is a child that does not feel like he's a divorced product. He doesn't feel like that. He does not
Mm,
feel the effects of, even though there were two households, there were two this, two that. Um, you know, God shielded him from feeling the
yes.
effects of a divorced child, or what a divorced child could feel. And i.e. me. I went through my own levels of different things being a part of a divorced situation. And so I know firsthand. Can't nobody tell me about it because I know about it because I lived it.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
so my son has not felt at least up until this point, he has not felt the residuals of that. And that
Great.
is a blessing within
Yes, it
itself.
is. Oh Lord, it is.
That
And I
is a
want to ask
blessing.
you, how did you make that happen to where he was able to adapt to the change and man and how did you adapt to it?
That's a very major question. That's a
Mm,
very major question. God, as much as things were going on and things of that nature, and I had options of how I wanted to play that out as far as my son and everything else, we both did. But God told me that with everything going on with Hayden at the time, to leave him at the ministry, to
mm,
let him still attend the ministry. God told me to leave him with he said that I had to leave him with something familiar because everything
mm,
around him was changing. And
right.
the Holy Ghost told me to leave him with something familiar. If you leave him at the church, then I will make sure that I sustain his mind through the process.
Gotcha.
And that was my decision, to leave him at his dad's ministry, even though I had to walk away.
Absolutely.
And that's really major.
Yes. Yes.
Nobody really understands that
Hmm.
decision that I had to make, because
And
I
yes.
forfeited my ability to watch my son grow in a spiritual environment consistently.
Yeah. Yeah.
People don't really, that's not really something
Mhm.
people understand. Like that's not for the faint at heart. I gave up a lot by God, by obeying God to do that. I gave up a lot. I could have fought that. I could have wanted him to just be with me, but I listened. God told me, in order for him to get to where he's not going to feel the full effects, leave him with people that love him, that watched him grow since he was in my belly. And although you guys may not be connected in this season, that they will love on him because they still love you. And I had to believe that would be true. And the truth is, that's what happened over time. And so I'm comfortable with that decision because God told me to be comfortable with it. Right. But the result of that is that my son did not have the residuals of your average divorced, situation. So
okay, and I'm so glad to hear that. I just wish there was more of that.
Correct.
That's a whole nother conversation. Yes, correct. But so let me ask you, Hayden, he's practically an adult now. He's in college, correct? Is he in college now? No, not
17.
Yet. He's 17. Okay.
So he's a senior. He's a senior.
Okay. Yes, and that, just so you know, Tamara is a mother to an amazing son. He is really like she mentioned about him remaining in that spiritual space, and thank God that has happened because he's become such an amazing kid. If you look at our social media, he's a good. Yeah, you could. I could tell. I haven't met him, but I could just tell that. I could tell. So I'm wondering, just out of curiosity, like as he's gotten older. And because he became more aware as he gotten older. I mean, even if you shielded him, and which is as he gotten older, how did you address it at the time as he gotten old enough to understand more of the dynamic? Or did they even take place at all?
I mean, it's kind of understood.
Okay.
I talked to my son very transparently, but there's just some things that we don't have to talk about.
Right.
But he's not stupid. You know what I mean? He's very intelligent, but some of those conversations we don't have to have. You know what I mean? They're not relevant for the way that we need to parent. That what happened is not relevant.
That's true. True.
They will be relevant at one point in time in his life, but I try not to. Because he loves us both the same. I do my best to make sure that, that is not tainted by any other scenarios. You know what I mean? I don't lie to him either. I don't do that. Of course. But our conversations in our relationship is different. Okay. And he doesn't have to be in an environment where he has to be aware of those things. But of course, we'll have heartfelt conversations when he gets older. You know what I mean? That just hasn't been on the forefront. That wasn't important to embrace the truth about things. It just is what it is. He was 3. Hayden was 3. So he knows us more apart than together.
Right, got you. So that's right. So it made a little bit more, the transition a little bit more easier to
correct. I mean, he so getting into those things when all he remembers is what the way that it was is really not important, in those moments. But but we talk about things, and I try to be as open as I can. I'm sure his dad does too, but I mean, there will be times because some things do have to be addressed as a young man gets older.
As he gets older,
important to know certain things. He's going to want to know, certain things. So, but for now, it hasn't been a big deal. You know what I mean? It's not a big deal, and so, we just got him. He's a senior in high school.
Yes,
I think he's doing
well. He's doing very well, and good job, Tamara. Good job.
Thank you.
Yeah. But also, just one more question. I don't want to, dwell on the whole divorce factor.
Sure.
I just want to, because I want to find out one thing, because I really need to know this. As a first lady, minister, all up in the church, and you divorcing, Jesus, you done divorced. Right. So I'm saying it that way. I'm being dramatic, but because I know what it's like for a lot of people in the church. They frown upon divorce because they feel, especially when a woman divorces, it's like, oh, you're a quitter. You don't know how to stick it out. Like they have these barbaric value systems when it comes to marriage, especially within a church. As a first lady, and not only as a first lady, had to separate from the marriage, you had to separate from the church that you built. What the heck?
Right.
So I'm just wondering, like, what was that like? Like, did you have that type of pushback?
To be honest with you, my mom probably went through more of that than I experienced.
Okay, understandable.
She definitely went through her own.
You still have that now.
They too still have that.
Yeah.
But for me, by the time I was, in my 30s at that point, we were pretty. And it feels like a lot of people were kind of going through the same thing at the same time. At least from what I could tell, it was a lot going on at that time. And so, I didn't really get, like I said, even if, hey sis, even if people did feel that way, they didn't come to me with it. Even if they were being critical, or to be honest with you, most of the rumor mill was really like, well, what happened? It really wasn't that we weren't together or that we were getting a divorce. It was really the biggest talk was like, well, what, And so I really dealt with the rumor mill more than I dealt with people criticizing my divorce. That was really the bit, because we were really, pretty popular, in the city and other places and different things in the environment, in the community that we were a part of. And so that was really the biggest thing. But because now, again, remember, I stayed silent for about 2.5 years. Like, I didn't even talk about it. Like, people, see me different places, and it just started to become obvious, but nobody was really getting the story from me. And so that was really the thing. So I didn't get a lot of criticism about being divorced, to be honest with you. My mom kind of had that moment per her and my dad.
Yes.
It was kind of like that.
Time.
The old church. By the time we was up here, we wearing pants, honey. My hair is red. Ain't nobody coming to me.
Yeah, you love your red hair. you love your red hair.
Ain't talking about no divorce, child. Okay, by that point in time, child, we just got on pants. We just got red hair.
Yeah, you so far removed. Child. Yeah,
very, very new age church.
Got it.
Wasn't nobody really tripping about divorcing at that point. You know what I mean?
Okay.
But some of those other reformations, kind of get into that, the Kojics and not to be throwing that out there, but I'm saying if Karen Clark would have divorced, it would be a big deal. You know what I mean?
Oh, of course.
But somebody like me, it's like
understand.
They understand it, So yeah.
Okay, so I'm glad it happened.
Nobody come at me about that. Nobody come at me about Kojic. I was just saying about Karen Clark.
We get it. Yeah, we definitely get it.
All right. I love the Kojics. I love the Kojics.
Yes. Hallelujah. Yeah. So I think you had so many trials, but also some triumphs, Tamara. So I want to get more into that, because you mentioned before that you had some setbacks with losing employment and dealing with different things, but you had entered some chapters in your life where you found love again, and you dealt with your cancer battle. So what came first? Okay, so you went from, I'm gonna just do a timeline here. Went from divorce, going through that, separating from the ministry that you built,
right?
And
from your mouth, from your mouth to God's ears.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. And so, what happened from there? Like, what happened from that point?
So I guess about Steve. So my transition of everything I was going through kind of shifted in 2026 when I got this amazing job and different things like that. So I'm living good, I'm doing good, all is well. And then I kind of get back into dating, girl. Okay. I get back into dating and different things like that. And that within itself, I started
that's hard.
I started to date around the time of the social media moment that was taking place. If you remember, Facebook and Instagram, all of that was very, very new. Very new. Around that time. And so it was a lot. So dating in general, it was very different. Oh Lord, my phone is is about to go. Yes. Let me find a girl for this to kick us off. Hold on. I'll be right back.
All right. No, got you. Okay. All right. Yeah. So Tamara is, she's working on that So let me just thank you so much for being here. Thank you so much. And I hope that you're enjoying this because I sure am. You're getting more in depth, and I appreciate Tamara being so candid about her journey so far. So I do appreciate it.